Jai Hind, you are most welcome on my YouTube channel Vedanand Singh. Today I am going to discuss you about the question answers of political science, the class 12th, and the chapter's name is security in the contemporary world. Here we'll discuss all the questions answer of the NCERT books only. So let's move to the first question of the chapter. The first question is matching question. The question is match the terms with their meanings, means there are some statements are there and we have to match with this statement, given statement we have to match it here. So first statement is confidence building measurement CBMs, and the statements is given here, and the second arm control, second term is this is arm control, and the alliance and disarmament, and here the statements are given here, giving up certain types of weapons, a process of exchanging information on the defense matters between the nations and on a regular basis, and the C option is a coalition of nations means to the deter or defend against military attacks, and the fourth it is regulates the acquisition of development of weapon. So these are the questions, and let's move to the answer of this question. And the first question of the answer would be the confidence building measurement CBS. What it is a process of exchanging the information on the defense matter between nation and particular basis, on a regular basis. And the second is arm control. Arm control means generally it regulates the acquisition of development of weapons. And the third it is alliance. Alliance means a coalition of nations means to deter and defend against military attacks. And the last is disarmaments. It is a given of the certain types of weapon, and if you would write, whenever you write down the answer in a notebook, you write like this: A, B number, and the second D number, and third is C number, and fourth is A number. You would match like this, and this is a short way to write the answer. Now next question number second. Question is which of the following would you consider as a traditional security concern, non-traditional security concern, or not a threat? Means there are some statements are given here, and you have to consider that which one are the in the security in the term of security, which are traditional, non-traditional, or even that is not a threat. Now the first option first statement is the spread of chikungunya, dengue fever. This is a non-traditional. Okay, I have already discussed in the unit which I have uploaded on the same chapter YouTube channel. So you can get there what is a traditional, non-traditional. I have already discussed in detail. Okay, now the B number it is inflow of worker from neighboring nations, means the flow of worker from neighboring nations. I have already discussed it, but the answer of this question is non-traditional. It comes under the non-traditional threats. Now next it is C number, emergence of group of demanding nationhood for their region. Generally what happens here, this is a traditional. Okay, this is a traditional. The next it is second last it is emergency of group of demanding autonomy. There it was a autonomy, and here was a nationhood. Difference it is here for their region. This is not a trade. This is not treated as a trade, so it is not very treated. Now the next last one, the next newspaper that is critically of the armed forces in the country, means the any newspaper that is critically armed forces in the country, means they are not a trade. It is not a treated trade. And the next question it is, you understand the question first. What is the difference between tradition and non-traditional security, and which category would you creation and subsistence of the alliances belongs to? Means generally we have to differentiate between the traditional and non-traditional security, and along with this, and second question it is which category would you creation and subsistence of the alliances belongs to? Okay, now I have written here the difference. The difference is traditional, and one side I have taken the non-traditional. In the traditional, what it is written, traditional notions is concerned with the use of military, war, balance of power, alliance building. These are comes under the traditional. And in the non-traditional, it goes beyond the military by threatening the condition necessary for the human survival. Means generally it is going on the basis of the particular human beings, and then in traditional it go to the military and the war, balance power, and the alliance building. Now the second second topics of this option is traditional is concerned with the state and governing and its governing institution. Generally, it is a traditional. I have just discussed it. It related to it concerned with the government and particular institution, and along with this non-traditional, it goes to the aspect of human beings, like the hunger diseases, etc. It comes to the particular human being. And the next, it is third statement. In traditional, it is written here, it is conformed to state only by thinking of the internal and external threat. Generally, it is treated as an external and internal threat, both it is, and but it is not covered in the term non-traditional. Only the state and all individual or humankind. But see here, it does not includes the state, particular state or any region. It belongs to individual or all humankinds. This is a basic difference between the traditional and non-traditional. And the last one, it is the man focuses on the forces only to achieve its target. See what happens here in the traditional, man purpose and the man aim that is targeted to achieve the whatever targets are there. That is the man points in the traditional. In non-traditional, it comprises cooperation, and hence it protects the human being and global security. It gives the global security along with the human being. And the last question is, there are two questions, and the which among the which categories would create would the creation and subsistence of the alliance belongs to. The answer of the question is the creation and subsistence of the alliance belongs to traditional notion of the security. This is the answer, complete answer of this question. So you would write it on the notebook if it was possible. Okay. Now the next questions of the chapters are, what are the differences in the threats that people in the third world faces and those who living in the first world faces? Means generally we have to find out the differences. What the basic differences that the differences in the threat that the first world we are facing and the third world. See the answer of this question. First points of the answer is the newly dependent countries forced the military conflict even with their neighboring states. First, what it is means neighboring states creates the military threats. This is a man difference. First point, it is in the third world they are facing the in comparison to first world phase. Now the next point of the question is, these countries faces threat not only from the outside border, but most from the neighbors and but also from the within. Centrally, what happens in the first world, they were getting the threats only from the outside border, but at present time the countries face the threat from the neighbors also, along within the country, from inside the country or state they also get the threat. And the third point, it is internally new state worried about threat from the separatist movement which wanted to form a separate independent country. Generally what happens, if in state there are so many separatists are there, they have the different opinions are there, and they want to form a different country, separate country among the country or the state. And the third and fourth, it is sometimes the external and the internal threats merge. Generally what happens at present times, the external threat as well as internal threats also merged, and it creates a problem to the governments also. And the fifth point is for the new state, the external wars with the neighbors and internal wars poses a serious challenges to security. Generally in the internally it gives the serious challenges to security, and in the external it gives the neighbor wars. Okay. Now the next question of the books is fifth number question. Is terrorism is a traditional or non-traditional threat to security? Generally question, and understand the question. I asking question is asking terrorism is a traditional or non-traditional threat to the security. See the answer of this question. Terrorism is a non-traditional threat to security. Would the peace and order in the country. Generally what's happened is with the challenges to this one. And the second is it refers to political violence of target civilians deliberately and indiscriminately. Generally what happened, it targets the civilians as well as indiscriminately, means generally whenever terrorism, it does not says anything they generally target all civilians of the nations at the same time, whether you are they don't discriminate with anyone. In this is the basic of the terrorism they take place. And the next point is it, civilians are usually characterized to be the weapon against the national government and the other parties in the conflict. Generally what happens, civilians are terrorized, means generally what happens, civilians are terrorized to be as a weapon against government, national government and other parties in the conflict. Generally civilians are targeted, government are targeted by the civilians. So the next it involves hijacking planes or planting bombs in a train. Generally it cafe, markets and other crowded place. Generally what happens, when crowded place, generally what happens, the trains bomb is set up, planting bombs and in cafe, market, and it also involves the hijacking the planes. Generally it hijack the planes and do it. And the next it is fourth number, after the terrorist attack on the World Trade Center on 11 September 2001, the other government and public also are paying more attention to the terrorism. Generally what happens, on the 11th of the September 2001 there were a terrorist attack on World Trade Center. So it also give the attention of the peoples or government towards the terrorism, because it was a very long very disturb a lot of the world. And next question, 6 number question, what are the choice available in the state when its security is threatened and according to the national threat secure perspective? See what happened, we have to write the what are the choices are there with the government state whenever there is a threatening happening according to the traditional security perspective. See first option, it is to surrender when they actually confronted by the war, but they will not advise as this policy of the country. See generally they have to surrender. And the next second point, it is to prevent the other side from the attacking by promising to raise the cost of war to an unacceptable level. Generally what happens, you have to prevent the war from the side attacked by the promise to the raise the control of the war and unaccepted level. And the next is third point, to defend or protect itself when war actually break out so as to deny the attacking country its objective and turn back or defended the attacking force altogether. Generally what happens in this point, it is a simple points is here, means it defends or protects when there is generally wars are taking place, and by how they do, they take the turn back or defeat the attacking forces together. Simple, it makes retreat. And the fourth point, it is hence the state security policy is to prevent war, which is called deterrence, and with limiting or heading war called defense. Generally what happens, it is called as a deterrence or the war defense headlings, and this is called defenses. Now the next question, these are the important question, 7 number question. Question is, what is the balance of power, means what is the balance of power and how could a state achieve this, means how can a state can get the balance of power. See the first written here, the balance of power is a balance between the bigger and smaller country by cooperating with each other economically and technologically. Generally what happens, the balance of power means they cooperate, the big nation cooperates to the smaller countries by economically as well as technologically. Means if there is a requirement of technology to a small country, the bigger country provide them. Along with this, economically they also support to that country, and a smaller country is always suspicious to break out the war from the bigger country and or powerful country. Means smaller country has always suspicious to break out the war from a powerful country. The next, it is they maintain a balance of power to build up one's military power together with the economic and technological power to protect its own security. Means they have to own security, they have to improve along with the economic development as well as technical development. Now the 8th number question, what are the objectives of military alliance? Means what are the objectives of military alliance? Along with this, give example of functioning military example with specific objective. Simply what it is, we have to define the military alliance what it is, and with the help of example we have to explain it. Then what are the basic objectives? So first of all, let me go through the objective. First, alliance building is important to component of traditional security to deal with the between the states and nation to deter or defend against the military attacks. Generally what happens in alliance building, generally it happens to deal with the state and nation to defend against the military attacks. If there is a military attacks, there is a traditional security are there, so it would be dealing with that. And the next, it is alliance are formed within formalized in written treaty and identification of who constitutes the threat. Generally it formalized to who have given the threats to that country, and identification would be there, and this is the second point. And the third point, it is alliance are formed to increase their effective power relative to other alliance. Generally what happens, alliance generally formed to increase the effective power to the nation from where they are doing that one. And the next, it is alliance are based on traditional form on the national interests and can change when national interest changes. Generally what happens, the alliance changes when there is an interest with the nation and when it is interest of that nation. Now the next, I am giving you the example. As the example is there, the US backed the Islamic military in Afghanistan against the Soviet Union in 1980, but later attacked when the Al-Qaeda, a group of Islamic military and led by the Osama bin Laden, launched the terrorist strike against the America on 11th September 2001. Generally what happens in Afghanistan, the US has been there, the Islamic militaries, they were there in Afghanistan. So they have the force, they have been sent to the Afghanistan against the Soviet Union in 1980, but the attack was the Al-Qaeda group, means it is an Islamic group, that is military group, and they lead the terrorist attacks against the America on 11 September 2001. This is an example, you may write down in your copy. I have taken this example from the NCERT book. Now the next question, it is rapid environmental degradation is causing a serious threat to the security. Do you agree with the statement? Substitute your arguments. Means generally rapid, this is an important question, rapid environment degradation is causing serious threat to security. They are asking that whether the rapid environment degradation is also creating a threats to security. If you are agree, then give a sentence and substitute your argument. Yes, this is definitely it is. Now we agree with the statement because some situations one country may have to disproportionately bears the brunt of a global problem. For example, artisan environmental degradation causing a serious threat to security. For example, due to global warming, a sea level rises from 1.5 to 2.0 meters would flood 20% of Bangladesh, inundates most of Maldives, and threaten nearby half of the population of Thailand. These are the hence the international cooperation is vital due to the global nature of this problem. Okay, now the next question, nuclear weapons are as deterrence or defense have limited usage against the contemporary security threats to its state. Explain the statement. We have to explain this statements are written here. We have to explain it. Is the first understand the statement, what the statement is saying. Nuclear weapon deterrence or defense have the limited usage against the contemporary security threats. Okay, we have to explain this one. what the statement generally means. Okay. Now, nuclear weapon have limited usage due to the non-arm due to arm control method of cooperation. Mainly, it can be limited by the arm control method should be the cooperation method of cooperation. Second, the one of the arm control treaty was nuclear non-proliferation treaty (NPT) of 1968 to regulate the acquisition of nuclear weapons. As per this treaty, those countries have had the fastest and manufacture the nuclear weapon before 1967 were allowed to keep their weapon, and that had not done so were to give up the right to acquire them. Generally, the statement meaning is that those countries who have made their nuclear before 1967, they have allowed to keep their weapons, and those who are not, they have to give up the right to acquire them. Okay, this is a statement's meaning. And the second point, the NPT did not abolish nuclear weapon, rather it's limited the number of the countries that could have them. Okay. Now, the next it is question, look at the Indian scenario. We have to look the Indian scenario. What type of security has been given priorities in India, traditional or non-traditional? What example could you cite to substantiate the argument? Generally, question, understand the question means we have to look the scenario of India, and we have to say what type of security has been given priority in India, whether it is traditional or non-traditional, and we have to give the example also. See, first of all, in India, the first it is given to strengthen its military capabilities, because first point, in India military capability has been improved and it has been strengthened, means it has been becoming more power, as the India has been involved in conflict within its neighboring as the Pakistan in 1970, 1947, 48, 65, 71 and 1990, and in China 1962. Means these are the border state of India, border countries of India, though that's why they have to military power they have to improve. And the second, it is in South Asian region, India is surrounded by the nuclear armed countries, hence the India decision to conduct nuclear test in 1998 was justified to safeguard nation security. And the third, it is India's first tested nuclear device in 1974, means India has tested the nuclear weapon in 1974, as you know, in Rajasthan it was done. And the second, it strengthened the international norms and international institution, means India is international now, they are going to strengthen and the international institution. The first point inside it, the first Indian Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru supported Asian solidarity, disarmament, decolonize, and the nation as a forum to settle down the international conflict, means to settle down the international conflict, they have supported the Asian solidarity. And the second, it is India took initiative to bring about a universal and non-discriminatory non-proliferation regime to enjoy some rights and obligations within the respect to the weapon of mass destruction, means they have given the initiative to mass destruction, they have given initiative, they can write initiative to stop it. Next, it used non-alignment to help the carve out a area of the peace outside the bloc, means generally outside the bloc it has been the gap of corp. Now, the next, it is India signed Kyoto Protocol in 1997. India has signed on Kyoto Protocol and a part of roadmap for the reducing the emission of greenhouse gases to that is check the global warming. And the next, it is to meet the security challenges within the country, and several military groups from the areas such as Nagaland, Mizoram, Punjab, Kashmir sought to break away from the country. So that's where it was also the challenges for the military group to be take action on this one. And the second one is India makes efforts to preserve the national unity by adopting a democratic political system by providing freedom of speech and expression along with the right to vote. Generally, my laptop is being is not charged, that's why I am reading it only, and all these simple points you can understand it very well, it would help you. Now the next it is lecture lot, it would be that to develop its economy, means India want to develop its economy because India is a developing country, so everybody would look for the development of its economy. If the economy developed, it would extend all these things, there would be the sustainable development of the country, along with the border states are there, so that you have to improve the economy of the nation. Also India developed the way of live the vast base of citizen out of the poverty, misery and huge economic inequalities. If there is economic inequality, India is improving its economy. Next, it is a democratically elected government is supposed to combine economic growth and human development without any demarcation between the rich and poorer, means generally as you know. And the last question is, we have to look at the cartoon and write a short note in favor and against the connection between the war and tradition, means you have to, here it is war and terrorist, we have to depict it in these pictures and we have to explain it. Now see, terrorism is a non-traditional threat to security as it is global, goal oriented, political. So this was the last option, last question. So with this in, you should write on the answer question, and in your notebook it would help you to improve your writing skill of NCERT, along with it would help you to solve the sample paper. If you are new to this channel, please never forget to subscribe. With this in, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.